Hi guys, welcome back. So in this tutorial I wanted to make a video and describe how to beat the legendary AI difficulty. And for that purpose I'm gonna be playing against the AI on the FAT Team of the Week. So obviously it's beating legendary is not very easy and does require a good team. And the better the team you have is, the better you will actually do when you are playing the game. But I kind of wanted to make a full game, actually show a full game instead of highlights, in order to for you to better understand what you need to do in order to comfortably beat the AI. And obviously, not every game is the same. I mean, at times it may be tougher. EA is well known for pretty much using sliders in order to change the gameplay. However, knowing these general principles will definitely help you with your gameplay. You'll be able to make many chances and play better defense also. Yeah, for that purpose, I kind of want to show you some tips on how to proceed with your gameplay in FIFA 18. I have played a lot of games so far, and I feel like I'm able to kind of bring it down to you and explain a few things about how the AI plays and what you can do to outsmart them. So the most important thing that you need to know when you are playing the AI, and you always need to remember that, is try to keep the shape of the formation, really the shape of your formation intact as much as possible. So try to keep your defensive line intact. Try to keep your defenders on the back, and don't just rush them blindly to mark other midfielders, for example, because this will leave a lot of gaps in your defense. And this is by far the easiest way for the AI to actually score against you. So the AI is actually lurking for space, and you always need to make sure that you are marking properly and you are not really leaving a lot of gaps behind. And as far as the attack is concerned, it is super important to actually make a lot of passes when playing against the AI. And especially, the higher the difficulty is, the more of build up play game you need to actually make in order to beat them. And you have to be very patient. And the most important thing always remember when you are playing against the AI and you are actually attacking is to always try to find the pass that is more secure. Really, I'm actually making a mistake here. I actually wanted to pass forward, and I ended up making a bad mistake in this case. It happens sometimes. I mean, you may be making a mistake, and what you need to do is be calm and try to defend, like as I'm doing here, and I'm defending pretty well. I gave no chance to the winger, and so they were not able to actually do much, and they ended up crossing to the birds, really. So now, as I'm attacking, my purpose is to actually try to find space and make sure that my passes are safe, that cannot be intercepted. And again, I could be making a mistake. Yes, the AI is really good, and the moment you make a slight mistake, they will capitalize on it, and they will counterattack instantly. So remember, if you do happen to lose the ball, don't panic. It will happen, and then it will happen again. I mean, it's normal. Just make sure that your defensive line is there, and it's properly, your men are actually properly defending in the back, and each one is actually having their own position, and holding their own position. So yeah, as I was saying, as far as attack is concerned, the most important thing is to try and find the open player, really. So as you build up your play and as you are moving forward up the pitch and you are moving closer to your opponent, always remember that the better way to go about it is by trying to find the player that is always open, and you really don't need to dribble at that stage. Like when you are on the pretty much third, like on the 70% of the times, really, like when you are almost outside your opponent's box, you don't really need to dribble. Situations where you need to dribble are here, like as I'm doing here, for example. So when you are actually in the box and you're trying to get rid of a defender, this is a good situation to actually dribble. And a really good dribble to use this year is the fake shot. Try to use the fake shot in multiple situations. Against the AI, it's super powerful, and also against other players, of course. But the AI has a lot of trouble defending against the fake shot, and especially when you are not actually exiting with your fake shot. So whenever you are not pressing the left stick at all, so and just performing the fake shot just without using any of the sticks. So and the fake shot, in case you are not aware about it, the way you do it is by either pressing and holding the short or the cross button, and then quickly tapping the pass button. That's how it's done. So this will enable you to change direction very quickly and mess up your opponent. And again, the AI has a lot of trouble. So as you see here, when I'm losing the ball, I'm trying to mark space as much as possible. And I did make a video about how to defend in FIFA 18. And marking space is by far the most important thing that you need to do. Never tightly mark defenders in FIFA 18, especially when you are playing in higher difficulties against the AI, because defenders are clumsy and attackers tend to be pretty agile. So it will be pretty easy for the AI to outsmart you and just bypass you really. It's super easy for them to do so. So just give some space to your defender really when you are defending. Don't go too close to the attacker, especially if the attacker is actually a very speedy player, very pacey player. Don't go too much near them. And you noticed here that the first touches can be a little bit lackluster also at times, and especially when you are playing against higher difficulty AIs. So it becomes a little bit tougher to actually control some of the balls. You need to be more precise. It's part of the difficulty. You will notice that your players feel clumsier when you are playing against higher difficulties, and that's not a coincidence. That actually happens definitely because the game actually wants it to happen. So it's rather obvious that when you are playing against lower difficulties, your players are flying really, and they feel very heavy when you are playing against higher difficulties, and that's especially true in the squad battles as well. It happens a lot at times. You may be winning a game like against, let's say, world class again, like 5-0 or something, and then next one you just barely win like 2 or 3-1 or something, and having difficulty scoring or defending also. It happens, and again, it's part of the difficulty. The good thing is that it happens for everybody, so don't feel too bad about it in the squad battles, because rest assured it happens for everybody. So it's not like somebody would have the advantage over you. They will get the same treatment. So at least that's a little bit more fair. Also, when you play against the AI, you may want to consider using at least one CDM. That's a defensive midfielder. A defensive midfielder's duties is all about making sure that there's not a lot of space between the attacker's midfield and offense, really, an attack. So it's he would be trying to cut the balls really between your opponent's midfield and attack. It's a very useful player and can actually save you in some situations. So if you're struggling with the AI and higher difficulties, you can use a defensive system, something like 4-2-3-1, for example, with two defensive midfielders. It's something that I suggested in my defensive tutorial as well. Just use a more defensive system, and then as you slowly get better at defending, you can use other systems as well, and maybe not even play with CDMs. It may take a little bit of time, but I'm pretty sure you will get the hang of it rather easily after a little while. So as you see here again, it's after a while my players do become a little bit tired. So it's I have to be more precise, and I have to take my time a little bit more, and not rush it really. And you will see here that my opponent is pressing high, as way higher up the pitch than what they used to, and obviously that happens because they are losing. So this will happen with strong AI for sure, especially with the legendary on ultimate. If they are behind in the score, they will mark high up the pitch, and they don't seem to get tired really. So this is probably a little bit of cheating by the AI, but they never seem to get tired. They run up and down the pitch all the time, and again they are perfect in defending and cutting passes and pretty much intercepting your balls. So make sure that again you take your time and try to find the better pass really, and not rush it. So in these situations, you will probably need to defend a little bit more than what you were defending in the beginning of the game. So the important ways to defend is definitely by using the jockey defending, which happens with L2 on PlayStation, or that would be LT on an Xbox. So the jockey button is great for defending because it enables you to mark more space really with your player. So it allows your player to pretty much enlarge their body and defend like vertically sort of, which makes it easier for you to steal balls and intercept your opponent's play. So it takes a little bit of practice. It's not so easy. I mean, defending with contain is way easier because you're just holding a button, but it makes you really passive in your defense. And by using contain, you are not really defending, and you will have a lot of trouble against good players. They will just pass by you really, pass by your defenders, and you'll be like, why didn't my defender intercept the ball? And that's because you are using contain. So try to make sure that you learn how to use the jockey button instead. And the jockey button is generally used in combination with the standing tackle for the most part, so that you just get the ball at the proper timing. But yeah, it does take practice, and it would be a good idea to practice with higher difficulties also eventually. But try to work on that skill just by practicing in maybe professional first or semi-pro, whatever is best for you, and then move on to higher difficulties, and again try to practice your defensive skills with that. And you can also use your teammate contain really, which is calling it a teammate of yours to help you with your defense. But remember that when you do that, you're actually messing up your defensive structure. So you will have trouble with your formation really, especially if you're calling play like CBs, like center backs, which you should never really do. Just leave your center backs be there, because the moment you call them back to defend a teammate contain, you leave a lot of space behind. So it's probably not a good idea to use your CBs for teammate containing. But using like a winger, for example, or a midfield, and controlling a defender or the opposite, can be great to actually have more chances of retrieving the ball and stealing the ball than just using a single player and moving around. You should be using your teammate contain to help you cover some space while you are defending other areas of the pitch. That's the main idea behind it. So it covers up more space in your defense so that you can utilize your player to maybe intercept a pass, for example, and not be anxious about a specific area in the pitch that may not be covered at that point. And you use the teammate contain just by pressing the R1 button on a PlayStation, and that would be, I believe, the RT button, or the RB button. I'm not entirely sure on the Xbox. I believe that would be the right trigger. Really, it's called on the Xbox. So I guess RT, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, on the PlayStation it would be the R1 button, and you need to press that and hold it in order to call for a teammate to help you with containing the defender. And the way it works is your most the player that is closer to the opponent is actually called for the teammate contain. So you can actually pretty much kind of control which players are going to be there and defend for you. and contain the attacker. So yeah, that's another important technique to use, and you should only be using contain when you actually want to get closer to to the attacker, really, to the player who is attacking. But don't expect to actually intercept a pass with contain. It's just meant to be used as a way to find the proper position, really, and adjust your positioning to the opponent attacker. So yeah, these are some of the tips that I kind of wanted to let you know about, and eventually it's all about proper passing and finding space, using some of the easy dribbles like the fake shots, and gaining up on that space and actually making that space and work with it once you do make it. So that is all. So I'm gonna see you with the next tutorial very soon. I will be making one for world class as well, which will probably be published in a few hours most likely. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Please remember to subscribe and like the video. This helps me tremendously, and it will definitely allow me to make more videos in the future for your pleasure. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.